Be March Boxing, what's happening, world? Back at it with another boxing video. So Canelo Alvarez, he tells the press and the media and anybody who would listen to him that he is number one pound for pound on the planet. Number one pound for pound over people like Bud Crawford and Vasyl Lomachenko. So I'm gonna read you some quotes from what the man Canelo Alvarez told the media. He said, quote, I've done better than they have. I've done things that are better than they have done. It's never really it's never really not allowed me to sleep, to not be number one pound for pound. Because at the end, there's somebody who puts you there. Maybe those people don't like me and they'll never place me at number one. The only point here is I felt number one my entire life. That's why I've reached where I've reached. Ever since I started my profession, I felt number one. And I and I continue feeling the same way. And I continue training as though I were number one. And I'll continue doing that my entire life. Some strong quotes from the man Canelo Alvarez, you know what I mean? Canelo Alvarez, he's claiming he's number one. I personally never had him number one. I think just as far as recently, I put him as far as high as up as number five ever in my entire being watching Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? Canelo Alvarez, he been on TV. I've been seeing him on HBO since like 2010. We in 2019, and he still never cracked the number one pound for pound spot. Why is that? You know what I mean? Got guys like Bud Crawford, Lomachenko. You know Lomachenko. These guys came into boxing probably like 2013. You know what I'm saying? Bud Crawford maybe just a little before that. Naoya Inoue. These guys came into boxing probably around 2013, 2014. They're in the pound for pound list. They've been there. They higher than Canelo ranked. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, Alexander Usyk, a unified, undisputed champion at cruiserweight, the youngest man to ever win a title. I mean, as far as winning a title the fastest in so many fights. You know what I'm saying? These type of guys, you know, they've been on the pound for pound list even higher than Canelo. All these years, Canelo been in the game. But these guys, Canelo been a pro probably since like 2005. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him on HBO in 2010. I believe that was against Miguel Cotto brother or his cousin or whoever. You know what I'm saying? You know, to me, the reason why Canelo never cracked number one pound for pound is because he's had a lot of controversial decisions. A lot of controversial decisions, weight draining opponents, bringing opponents up, rehydrating to be basically a different type of physique than what we seen at the weigh-in. And also cherry picking. Look at a guy like Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Canelo been is mandatory back in the day from WBO 2013 with the WBO at what do you call it? Light middleweight. He never fought the guy. Andrade been called him out since then. He never gave that guy an opportunity. You know what I mean? The man Canelo Alvarez has been involved in steroids. He's failed two drug tests with that clenbuterol. Then he blamed it on some Mexican beef. Ironically, his trainers, the Reynoso family, father and son, they butchers by trade. You know what I mean? That's what they do by trade. They butchers. They be cooking his meals. You've seen it on HBO. What do you call it? 24/7s or you know they be cooking his meals. So if it is clenbuterol in the beef, so be it. They gave it to you. Basically, that's who you're blaming. You know what I'm saying? Inadvertently, you're trying to blame somebody, but you really try to you know, blaming it on your training staff, your coaches and them. The man Canelo's had a lot of controversial decisions. When he fought Shane Mosley, he was like 19 years younger than Shane Mosley. Never forget that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to go back in the day and say, oh, look at the kind of guys he fought for his first world title. Matthew Hatton, who was a career welterweight, they brought him up so Canelo can claim a vacant junior middleweight title. You know what I'm saying? You know, he lost to Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people give him credit for that fight, and they say he's learned a lot since that. I can't tell. You know, I can't tell because when I think of pound for pound too, you don't avoid certain styles. You take on all comers, you know what I mean? That's what makes you pound for pound. You can take on sluggers, brawlers, inside fighters, outside fighters, you know what I'm saying? Boxer punches, all type of styles. To me, that's what it takes to be number one pound for pound. You know what I mean? Canelo's a very good counter puncher. You know, those type of things maybe he did learn from Floyd Mayweather, but I haven't seen him execute it against certain styles. You know what I mean? He ain't fighting Andrade. He not fighting Jamal Charlo. You know what I'm saying? He fought Danny Jacobs. I'll give him credit for that one. You know what I mean? I'll give him credit for that one. But I predicted that Danny Jacobs somehow, some way will find himself not letting his hands go or holding back or not just stepping on the gas, changing gears. He's just not that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, where he been? He's been AWOL. He's been MIA ever since he lost to the man, what's his name? Canelo Alvarez, because really and truly, he personally knows he could have done better. You know what I mean? You check it. He fought Triple G. You know what I mean? The first fight, I had it a draw. But if I had to give the edge to anybody in that fight for the victory, it wasn't going to be Canelo Alvarez. The edge would have gone. I could see why people think Triple G won that fight. I had it a draw, but I can't see Canelo Alvarez winning that fight. Now, the second fight, that's a whole different story. That's clearly a Canelo win. You know what I mean? I don't know what people talk about when they say Triple G beat him in the second fight, but that's mostly the MMA fans who pop up and come and watch boxing only when Triple G comes around. You know what I mean? Because Triple G does have a lot of MMA fans. You know what I'm saying? You check it. You know the Miguel Cotto victory. I thought that was a closer fight than the scorecards indicated. You know what I mean? I had that fight 7-5, but a clear 7-5. Definitely no, Cotto to me didn't win that fight. Canelo won that fight, but the scorecards, you know what I mean? I remember they indicated like Canoli won like 10 out of 12 rounds. You know what I mean? 9 out of 12 rounds. And so I wasn't agreeing with them scorecards. Of course, the Landy Lara fight, that was a split decision, but I had that victory for Landy Lara, 8-4, 7-5 at worst, but no way, no how was that a draw or a Canoli victory. So these type of things are reasons why Canoli isn't number one pound for pound. You know what I mean? Why he hasn't all these years, even if his boss or his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, and them own the Ring magazine. You know, they are biased with their pound for pound rankings. The pound for pound rankings ain't like they used to be when I used to look at them as a kid. But at the end of the day, they not that biased neither because people will call they bluff. You know what I mean? You check it, bringing guys like Amir Khan up to 155 pounds. You know what I mean? And he sparked out the smaller guy, fought Liam Smith rather than fighting Bubu Andrade. When Bubu Andrade vacated, got stripped or vacated, one of the two, I can't remember. Liam Smith fought a guy who should not have been in that position to even fight for a vacant world title. That John Thompson guy that Liam Smith fought, you know what I mean? And then Canelo gets to fight him. He picks him up, he picks him, and he beats him over there at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, that was at a catch weight, 164. Chavez didn't open up, so it was difficult for Canoli to look impressive with the guy who ain't trying to really fight back. But at the end of the day, there's a possibility, you know, to really put hands on the guy if he's not trying to let his hands go. And then the Rocky Feldon fight when he fought him for WBA kind of world title or regular title, one of those many WBA belts. When Callum Smith was a real champion with the WBA title, the super title at 168 pounds, you know. He's going up to fight Kovalev. I give him credit for that, no doubt about it, But Canoli is a big dude, you know what I mean? He's a big dude, and all those catch weights he had people at and took advantage of them people. Those are the reasons why the guy is the number one pound for pound. When he also, fighting guys like um, even the Austin Trout was a controversial decision. I personally edged it to Canoli because of the knockdown. I would have had it a draw, but then those scorecards also indicated there was a wide victory. You know what I mean? Josecito Lopez, another welterweight he brought up. I think he was going to fight either Paul Williams or what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name? Victor Ortiz. A smaller guy in Victor Ortiz. The Paul Williams fight, that was right before Paul Williams had his accident. That was definitely going to be a good test for both of them. I was conflicted on who would have won that fight. I made a video about that fight, fights we didn't get to see. Paul Williams versus Canoli. That would have been a good test for him at that juncture of his career. You know what I mean? But the reason why guys like Bud Crawford is number one pound for pound, Bud Crawford is a guy who's a lineal champion in two different weight classes, won multiple titles in three different weight classes. Uh, I said, yeah, he's a lineal champion in two weight classes. You know what I mean? Undisputed at 140 pounds, grabbed every single belt, no matter what kind of politics were being played. He's a guy who he takes care of his opponents. You know what I mean? He's actually even stopping guys. You know what I mean? Rocky Fielding, that was definitely going to be a stoppage because, I mean, that guy just wasn't on that kind of world class level. He looked like a deer caught in the headlights. So was Liam Smith. That's another knockout. But the elite fighters, Canoli's not stopping these guys or guys his size. Bud Crawford is, you know what I mean? He even stopped David Benavidez' brother, Jose Benavidez. You know what I mean? Jeff Horn. You check it. You know what I mean? He's stopping smaller guys and guys who are not experienced. He stopped James Kirkland. James Kirkland was out the ring for a long time before he got that fight. So, I think that Canoli should feel like he's number one pound for pound, but I can't put him over guys like even Inoue. And because Inoue is going up weight classes and being the best of the best. Now, I will say at 115, he didn't fight the best of the best. He jumped up to bantamweight, and there was money down there at 115. But the man, even Lomachenko, maybe his resume is comparable to the man Canelo. You know what I'm saying? It's arguable. You know what I mean? Definitely Canelo got the experience. They both got one loss on their resume. But then again, these guys also avoid fighters, Canoli and Lomachenko. They're privileged fighters, you know what I mean? Fighters who get to pick and choose who they fight. Um, and especially, they don't fight certain styles, you know what I mean? I'd like to see Canelo Alvarez, I would have liked to see him go for undisputed at the time when he had three belts, you know what I mean? But he ain't even do it. He ain't trying to fight. Right now, he doesn't even have the WBC belt. He ain't trying to fight Andrade. So he fragmented them belts. You know what I mean? Them belts all over the place. Now the man, Lomachenko's doing the same. A guy who wasn't even ranked in the top 15 of the WBC got a WBC title shot when it was supposed to be uh, Devin Haney versus Luke Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Luke Campbell didn't get the opportunity to fight for that vacant title against a guy who is a more competitive fight. He fights Lomachenko. Lomachenko then vacates the belt rather than fight the man Devin Haney. And the man would have two mandatories. He'd have to finally fight, you know, he'd have two mandatories lined up because he won a vacant belt. He'd have to fight two mandatories in a row, you know what I mean? And that would possibly be Devin Haney and Luke Campbell again, you know what I mean? Decided to vacate. Maybe he's looking for bigger purses, higher purses. But at the end of the day, that's what these sanctioning bodies are they're supposed to do, but they're not. They're there to enforce the rules and enforce mandatories because in boxing, which is a renegade sport, fighters would just be avoiding tough, difficult matchups, especially from the mandatories. That's how mandatories get a title shot. Everybody got to climb up the ladder. There's 1,000,001 boxers out there, very many of them undefeated. But that's why we have a ranking system, eliminators, and number one contenders. You know what I mean? Because somebody, sooner than later, got to get a shot at the world title, just like the previous or the current champion did. You know what I mean? But the sanctioning body, and this was all by request of Top Rank. Never forget that. Do not forget that. Don't get it twisted. It is Top Rank, Bob Arum, who requested for the WBC to elevate the man to a franchise champion. You know what I mean? You know, sure, the WBC, they don't mind making a franchise belt, whatever it is, and still get some sanctioning belt fees, and then somebody else holds the real WBC title like Devin Haney, and they also paying sanctioning fees, so they don't mind that one bit. But at the end of the day, the sanctioning bodies should not be allowing fighters to avoid others. If that's the case, make every WBC champion, from Miguel Burchard to Juan Francisco Estrada, um, to Jamal Charlo, make all of them a franchise champion. Deontay Wilder, um, Gary Russell, make all of them a franchise champion. If that's the case, you know what I mean? So all of them could avoid their mandatories. That's basically what they're doing, and it should be the other way around. The sanctioning body should help the sport by enforcing mandatories, so fighters could get an opportunity at a world title. So that's why my reasons why the man Canoli isn't number one pound for pound. You know, he's a privileged fighter. He's talking about maybe it's the people don't like him, or but you know, it's Golden Boy magazine who do the pound for pound rankings. ESPN and Golden Boy both have Canoli as the number three pound for pound fighter. You know what I mean? Can't say they don't like you. Golden Boy likes you. Can't say that because he's the number one cash cow in boxing. You know what I mean? So Canelo has fans. He has people who follow him and buy his pay per views. So that's definitely not the issue. The issue is your resume and how, and you know, you can't even, you see, that's why you got to give guys like Floyd Mayweather props. Any controversial decision that people thought Floyd was involved in, whether it was Jose Luis Castillo or Maidana, Floyd gave him an immediate rematch. You know what I'm saying? That's what he did. He gave him an immediate rematch and made it look easier the second time to silence all doubters. Canoli ain't about that life. He did the rematch with Triple G only because he didn't escape with the victory in the first fight. He got a draw, and that's what I had on my scorecard. I was pleased with that scorecard. Nobody won that fight. He won the second fight. Now he's making Triple G go through hoops and loops to try and get a trilogy fight, which is okay with me because I'd rather see Triple G or Canelo now face Jamal Charlo and or Andrade, either or. All of them are champions. Andrade, Charlo, Triple G, and Canoli at 160. They all should mix it up. You know what I mean? They all should mix it up. See who's going to come out that four-man tournament. Do like the World Boxing Super Series. Somebody got to come out the tournament with a couple straps. Hopefully all of them in an undisputed fight. You know, so I'm sorry, when Canoli gives guys rematches, beats him more convincingly, like Austin Trout, Cotto, no need for a Floyd rematch. All those fights, then maybe we'd be talking about him being pound for pound. Man got over probably like over 50 fights, and he still never cracked number one pound for pound. All I could say is keep trying, stay off the clenbuterol, beat your opponents in a more convincing fashion, and also defeat all kind of styles, all new, you know, all comers. You know what I mean? That's the thing with Triple G. I have never in my life had him on my pound for pound list. Never have. How could I when he got a belt handed to him in the WBC belt, IBF belt? He beat David Lemieux, and his WBA belt was mostly a regular title, and they elevated him to the super champ when he beat Daniel Gill. That's when, to me, his reign as a middleweight champion should have started. Because while he was a regular champion, Felix Sturm was the super champ. You know what I'm saying? You know, these are things people try to gloss over and they don't highlight these things. So for those type of reasons, not to mention the guys he was fighting, you know what I mean, were not world beaters, not no world class fighters. So with Canoli only picking Triple G to fight him only after he seen Triple G struggle versus Danny Jacobs, I thought that was pretty cheap, you know what I mean? You know, and not to mention that's the only reason he fought the guy because he looked vulnerable in that fight versus Danny Jacobs, and he was aging, and they tried to age him out. You know what I'm saying? Just like Miguel Cotto. You know what I mean? But you know, at the end of the day, when he did take the steroids, he wasn't even apologetic when he got popped twice for the clenbuterol. He wasn't apologetic. He was basically like, "So what?" You know, he was very dismissive about the fact that he's tested positive and you're supposed to be the number one cash cow superstar in boxing in the at least the United States. So that's what it is, man. The man just got to work harder, stay off the clenbuterol, beat fighters in more convincing fashion, and also maybe become undisputed. You know what I mean? He's gonna hopefully, he's got a chance to beat Kovalev. Those are things that will elevate you to the pound for pound ranking, especially if you also fight guys like Better Beef, where Canoli and them said they'll beat Better Beef. So time will tell. We shall see. Be Marsh Boxing. Leave your thoughts and comments, and let me know what you think about Canoli claiming he's number one pound for pound over Bud Crawford and Lomachenko. All right, I'm gone. Peace.